this would be like a two-part fight. It just kind of stops.
It's really weird because it seems like the way the episode I guess we're live right now, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, we are live for clarity.
Yeah, so this fight is a two-parter, but by the but the way this episode ends, it's like, well, they've won.
Yes. Like, unless someone shows up and saves the vampire man and it's a big dramatic reveal, we have definitely won.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, all I know is the next, like, chapter after this opens up with, like, a flashback of some kind. So, I don't know where that's going, but, like, I guess we'll see next episode.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, so... I feel like, and with the stuff they cut out, there's not really that much to say, because it's like, they did cut like a bunch of just smaller kind of like reactions and stuff, but it's mostly nothing with like one big notable exception.
Is there an explanation for where Ryu got a van?
No, I don't believe so.
Great.
I don't remember seeing it.
That was the one thing I was wondering. I was like, where did Ryu get a van?
I will say they caught the gag where, like, as soon as they see that, like, So, first off, like, they drive to the Patch Village, because, they finally, like, kind of figured out it might be in this location. Or rather,
it's a
like...
tourist.
Yeah, it's a tourist trap. It's like a Native American, like, former, like, town or whatever, like a Mesoamerican city that, like, was just abandoned in the past. Well, I should say abandoned. I mean, we all probably know what happened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, they got, like, a quick gag where it's like, the gang, like, sees the city and they're like, oh, man, it's so crazy that the ancients built this place. And they see the tourists, and the van literally stumbles end over end as they fly out for, like, comedy.
Okay.
The van does a freaking pratfall.
Okay. That seems like a weird gag to do in a manga, because it feels like that would work way better in animation.
Yeah. Except they didn't do it in the anime. So what the heck?
Yeah, it's weird. It's worth noting before this, Horo meets back up with the rest of the party.
Ah, right, yeah.
And he's like, hey, what's up? And everybody's like, what's wrong with you? You're worried. And he's like, whatever, let's go.
Yeah, he's like, I've matured into a man or something. And Ryu's like, this guy irritates me so much more now.
And Ren's like beating him up in the back seat.
Right, Ren, not Ryu. I misspoke.
Yeah. Ren is like, this guy's so smug. I hate it.
Yeah. I love that, like, Ren's just being the shit out of him for, like, being smug. And, like, just off to the side, you see, like, everyone signing their reactions. And, like, Lyserg's just staring straight forward with a little smile on his face. Just, like, couldn't care less.
Of course not.
Oh, man. But, yeah, they're, like... Basically, the episode that's like, they get to the Native American site, basically. It's like a tourist trap. And they find the way to the Patch Village. And then Hal's goons are just there. They just, like, appear.
Yeah. It's like, hey, what's up? We were told by Hal to just kill your friends.
Yeah, which is why they just sadly choose to not just kill Yo's friends. Like, it's... Yes, this whole sup is, like, really weird and kind of forced feeling, because it's like...
Yeah, they just kind of leave, don't they?
Yeah, I have so much sympathy for the writer right now, because he's, like, in a position where he's like, okay, these guys are, like, part of the, like, whole evil group, and they're just traveling together. How do I get, like, 4 of these guys to leave so we can have a one-on-one fight with the 5th one?
Well, we kill off one of them.
Yeah. So that's one down. A looks at the R3A's like, I don't really want to kill off these guys. They'll just leave.
They're just like, hey, after your friends are dead, you'll get to fight us anyways. Bye.
Yeah. Because, like, really this is mostly just Ryu's fight, but the others get involved at the end, so it can't be one-on-one anymore.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. By the way, the one that they fight in the picture that you're seeing is the guy on the left with the white hair.
Yes, the guy who kind of looks like Senku at close range.
Kinda.
Yeah, I kept seeing, like, just... They keep showing shots of that guy with the white hair, like, up close. And I'm just looking at, like, the slanty eyes, like... I guess that's a good way to describe him. And, like, the effing, like, long bangs that are, like, just pure white. And I'm like, wait, why does he look like Senku? Why does this guy just straight up look like Vampire Senku? But yeah, like, they get to meet, like, House Goons, and they're all just like, yeah, oh, interesting, yeah, very interesting indeed, And Yo's group's just like, wait, what? And they're like, oh, we're just knowing that you look a lot like Cow, you must be his descendant. And Yo's like, yeah, I knew, I kind of figured.
Or it's not even that he figured that he was his descendant, he's just like, oh, that makes sense, we look a lot alike.
Yeah, like, they're so, like, weirdly shady about it. Like, this is, like, bordering on, like, Shaman parody almost. I kind of love it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how intentional it is that, like, every single one of them gives their old, like, villain, like, yo, oh, I see, sort of, like, moment, like, back to back.
Right, I forgot about that little scene. Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they doing?
It's like, for a second I thought that was just going to be the gag.
Nah,
it's
the gag is that Yo is told something like life-changing, or like, maybe not life-changing, but like this big revelation, and he's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure, why not? I think what's really especially weird about this is that it's like, just last episode we learned what the deal was.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're extra unsurprised by it.
I mean, we're the viewer. It's not
weird
that we're unsurprised. It's just that the protagonist is just like, whatever.
Man, Yo's so chill.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't change his goals in any way, so he's like, whatever, I guess.
Yeah. I wish more protagonists would just be like that, yo. Like, the villain just does a big reveal and the hero's like, oh, alright, so what?
Yeah, I still have to stop him. He's still evil.
Yeah. But yes.
So yeah, Vampire Man just like attacks the party after they're done with their little thing.
Yeah, so I'll straight up say, like, white-haired guy to the left, like, that's his deal. He's a vampire.
He's actually a vampire. I thought he was like, oh, my powers are like very vampire-like, and it's like, no, he's actually a vampire.
What's really going on specifically is he's using his shaman powers to mimic, like, vampire things.
Well, he's doing all the bullcrap and vampire stuff without his ghost. Also, but he's talking about events that happened like hundreds of years ago, like he was there.
I don't think that's meant to be, like, the implication. I think it's just like, he's talking about, like, his family line, and he's like, oh yeah, like, how taught our family how to be, like, quote-unquote, real vampires with shaman power. Like, as in, like, how just showed up, it was like, oh, you guys can, like, you have the potential to be shamans, I'll just teach you how to do oversouls and stuff. And they just sort of, like, went with it.
Then I must have misunderstood that flashback. By the way, even after his ghost turns on him, he's still doing his vampire blood bull crap.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's a weird thing, because, like, his ghost isn't, like, specifically in the cape, but it's still, like, technically his oversoul. It's very, very odd. But yeah, also he just has, like, a gun on his sword for, like, no real reason.
Yeah, I didn't really notice it until the later shot where it's like a really close zoom in on his sword, and I'm like, is that a gun?
Yeah, I'm amazed he never actually tries to shoot it, but yeah, that's just there.
Yeah, he's got like a rapier style. No, it's not a rapier. It's like a.
It's
I don't
like
know
a
what.
curved sword, but it's got like a rapier hilt, so it's like a cavalry sword, I guess. Yeah.
Cutlass. Yeah, he's got like a cutlass style gun blade.
Which I'm pretty sure is a real thing at some point. I know for a fact that like swords like that were made historically.
It's still weird.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's super weird. This guy's entire like gimmick is weird.
Yeah, like he shows up, or like he attacks the party and he hits them, and they're like, "Well, you're supposed to be a vampire. That guy over there looks more like a vampire than you do." And they point to like the guy in the black with the red coat, whatever.
Yeah. I love that at this point, like, Boris, the vampire, the, like, white-haired guy here, just starts, like, overreacting. He starts, like, thrashing around and stuff, like, crying. And, like, in the manga, there's a quick gag where they're like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
Yeah, he's like, how dare you, I'll show you, and then he kills his own ally. He's like, there, now he can't be the vampire, I'm the vampire.
I like that he, like, when he kills him, Ren's just like, well, like, before he kills her or whatever, Ren's just straight up like, yeah, you have 5 guys and you already have, like, overlapping designs.
Yeah.
And, like, later on, like, in the episode, we see a guy who just looks like Ball Boy from Ryu's group. And it's like, is that, like, intentional? I don't know.
Oh, I forgot about that guy.
Yes, this feels like, you know, Mangaka, like, just had to crank out a bunch of villain designs for his group, which are why, like, most of them aren't that great. And, like, afterwards he's like, man, I made these two way too similar. One of these guys gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta lampshade the crap out of this.
He's like, alright, I got football guy, I got big fat guy, I got vampire guy, I got other vampire guy, crap. And then the seemingly leader of that little group, who looks like a he might be Arabian or something.
Yeah, he looks like Arabian or like Egyptian or something. Like he's got the whole like robes on and like, you know, the like head covering, you know, with like the thing over his mouth.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly what it's called, but yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, what I mean.
His design is so simple that I expect him to go down like the main zombie of the whatever the lame zombies that Inn sent at them.
Yeah. So here's what I'm thinking, right? I think like the guy in the robes is being like sub as the ringleader of this group, but I feel like his design's also way too plain. I'm totally expecting like we're gonna meet up with the rest of the group, and he's just going to, like, throw off those robes, like, out of nowhere, and he's gonna have, like, stupidly elaborate tattoos all over his body, just to, like, show, like, how big of a deal he is. Just to, like, overcompensate. And, you know, he'll be, like, the biggest threat.
Who knows? It's
like,
with this series, it's hard to tell where anything is going, ever.
Yeah, because, like, all these ghosts are based off of different cultures and stuff. I have a feeling this guy's gonna, like, take off his, like, robes, and he's gonna have, like, tattoos on his body, and he's gonna be like, yeah, now come forth, my spirit guardian, Anubis. It's gonna be, like, a straight-up thing.
If he is Egyptian, then I could see this series doing the thing where he's got a crap load of hieroglyphic tattoos or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like, yo. Because, like, in my mind, I'm thinking of, like, what's her name? Like, from Yu-Gi-Oh! The, like, lady with, like, the scales.
I forgot her name.
Ishari? It's something.
Ishtar,
yeah, alright, yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be, like, something like that, maybe. Or, like, you know, Merrick or whatever.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah, but yeah, like...
It's kind of crazy. It's like, oh yeah, the bad guy of that arc is actually an Egyptian.
Of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like, there's this whole thing where it's like, oh, Yugi's like this little Japanese kid with with like an ancient pharaoh inside, like, possessing his body. And it's like, oh, by the way, the villains of this arc are actually Egyptian.
Yeah. And I feel like that makes sense, because that's the natural place to go, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, alright, like, who do we fight for the card game? It's like, oh, well, alright, we got, like, the guy who made the game is, like, a good final boss sort of character. So it's like, alright, we have corporate, like, wealthy businessman who has just all the cards. And it's like, alright, we got through him. Who's next? Well, there's a whole thing about Egypt in the backstory. So, screw it. Let's just throw some Egyptian characters as villains and just have that be the thing. And they get through that. I believe the next, like, obstacle is, like, Bakura, but in the past. Or something.
Amazing.
Like, he's the next big arc boss. Because that was, like, the big thing they were setting up. And they're like, alright, well, we have to go further down the Egyptian route because we have to, like, show the lore of the Shao games. And, yeah, sure, we'll just use that guy for it. He's probably a good villain.
Yeah, I kind of didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Past season 1.
Yeah. And,
I
like,
just know that Merrick exists.
And, like, every series of Yu-Gi-Oh! After that has just been completely, like, random and off the walls with, like, the antagonists.
Because they blew all the obvious things early.
Yeah. It's like, alright, we already, like, got, like, Egyptian villain out of the way. We already went through the Shao games. We, like, went through the big, like, corporate guy. Who's next? I don't know. Aliens who want to flood the world with light?
Oh, that's the plot of GX, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, there's, like, a guy in a tube who has, like, robot arms, and he, like, revitalizes himself.
I did watch some of GX, but I also fell off of that early in its seasons.
And what if Jaden, like, duels a monkey, huh?
That's not too crazy.
Yeah. Man, GX is... Like, I say it's like they're completely random. I honestly kind of like how dumb they are.
There's, like, an episode where I remember where, like, there's, like, a certain amount of, like, breakfast sandwiches that they hand out every morning. And there's, like, really bad ones. And then there's this one guy who's practiced drawing exactly what he wants, so he gets the good one every time.
Isn't he, like, Tarzan too?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like, he's trained in the wilderness to become a master card drawer by, like, putting his cards in, like, a waterfall to, like, draw them as they go down the stream.
Yeah, and it's stupid because it's like, oh, he's just cheating.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way to interpret that, right?
He's just like, psychic powers, I guess, are just straight up real, and he's awoken his.
I don't know, it just seems like cheating to me to always get exactly what you want.
It's not cheating, it's the heart of the cards. Remember?
That's a bull crap.
Because every time Yugi's losing...
Yugi's a cheater, too. He's got ancient Egyptian magic on his side.
Every time Yugi's losing, he's just like, oh, I need to trust the heart of the cards, and he draws exactly what he wants by fudging the RNG numbers or whatever. Just...
There's that bullcrap moment where he's playing cards he can't see, so it's like you could be putting a magic card in the monster slot for all you know, you idiot.
Yeah.
you could be playing illegal cards, and then I realized that the season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Never followed the rules anyways.
Oh, absolutely. It did follow the rules so much that they, like, made one of their cheats a real spell card afterwards.
Really?
Yeah, because Attack the Moon is an actual spell now. Man, just before we, like, get back on topic, I just want to mention real quick that there's, like, a card someone brought up recently that might be one of my new favorite, like, just effing, like... This is, like, the biggest taunt ever, right? Because, like, the card's called something like Power of Friendship or something. I forget what exactly it's called. But how it works is basically, like, both players, like, take the amount of life points they've lost, and then, like, you extend your, like, hand to your opponent. This is, like, on the card text. Like, specifically. And if your opponent accepts your handshake, then, like, both players lose a some amount of life points based on, like, some value. I forget what specifically it is. But it's basically like, alright, you can play this to, like, kill someone if they accept the handshake. If they do not accept the handshake, then nothing happens. But if you have a second card, and I forget what it's called either, it's like, it's something specific. They're like, if you have another card in your hand, then the other player must accept the handshake. So you literally force your opponent to shake your hand, and then they lose.
The only way you could force the handshake is if the card is like, by the way, if they don't accept, they lose instantly.
Yeah. That's basically the implication.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, imagine you're, like, playing a fine game, and there's just a move that forces your opponent to shake hands with you before they game over, before you take the stock.
From what I understand, Magic the Gathering has cards like that, where it'll make the players themselves do something goofy.
Oh man.
Or the person you play it against suffers the consequences.
Yeah. Oh, that's always fun. It's dumb and it sucks, but it's also fun. It's so trolly. But yeah, anyways, Shaman King. So Boris just has a stand as a ghost.
I mean, it's no different than Amidamaru or Tokaguro.
Yeah, I just look at this thing and it just hits me like way harder that this is just a straight up stand.
He does look like a stand straight out of JoJo.
Like, it's so direct. And the weird thing is that, like, in the manga, he doesn't have the headgear.
Oh, yeah?
So he weirdly looks more stand-like in the anime. I have no idea.
They probably did it on purpose then.
I have no idea why, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, like, he kills his ally and, like, introduces himself. Well, he introduces himself after he, like, summons a pair of bat wings and just sucks up the guy's corpse, just straight up.
Yeah, he's straight dead. Like, there's no, like, oh, he didn't actually kill him. It's like, no, he's dead.
So here's something, like, really important that they cut out of the anime. When he kills the guy in the manga, you know this place is like a tourist trap?
Yeah.
You see people start freaking out and running away screaming because a dude just murdered someone.
Yeah, it's worth noting that in the anime, there's nobody around.
Yeah, it's, like, very suspiciously empty. And that comes back later on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because, like, later on, like, just to jump forward a bit, there's, like, a scene where, like, essentially he's, like, getting desperate, and he's like, okay, I had more blood to finish these guys off. So, like, in the manga, he just shoots his wing spikes out in all directions and just stabs a bunch of, like, bystanders off to the side to, like, drink them. And that's where it gets all the extra blood spikes from.
So are they just gonna, in the next episode, are they just gonna suddenly populate the area with bystanders?
I don't know. I'd assume not, because they're probably dead now. Or at least most of them probably are.
What a weird thing to cut from the anime.
Because, like, I can kind of see the logic, because it's like, it's not essential to the plot. Because it's like, oh, he just has more blood. Alright, whatever. But it's a really big deal.
This is something that happened in this episode.
Yes, in this episode.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, because, he holds all the blood spikes up and he's, threatening the group. Yeah, that's where they came from. That's why he suddenly just has all those extra blood spikes to throw at people. Yeah. But yeah, they go fight this guy, and he's he just disappears and immediately just bites Lysander, and he's like, okay, now your friend is a vampire, and my servant. Lyserg, right. I keep wanting to call him Lysander. That's not his name, but it's an actual name, so I'm like, but whatever.
I get it.
It's was that new character it got to Guilty Gear, Gold Lewis Dixon or something? And Max did a reaction where he kept wanting to call him Gold Dick Lewison. And by the end, I'm like, wait, Gold Dick's Nas? Oh, that's gonna be hard to get out of my head now.
Gold Lewis is the most American, fighting game character.
Yeah. Literally,
in the end of the story, it's him standing there holding a hamburger that's big even for him. And it's like, holy crap, dude.
Just the effing, just giant, just huge pot-bellied Texan government agent who also has an Elvis afro. Or, an Elvis too.
Yeah. Gold Lewis is so weird.
Yeah. Dude who fights with, a gun and, forbidden alien tech. Because he's just got, an alien in a coffin.
Yeah, he's like, what? Aliens? That's ridiculous.
Oh, that character's gonna be a blast. I can't wait. That's gonna be great.
I kind of want the president to be a fighter.
Isn't Chip the president?
No, Chip is the president of his own nation. I'm talking about the president of the United States.
Oh boy.
Who has a robot arm. And he saves the world with football.
Well, there you go. That sure is a Guilty Gear character design.
It's in the story mode. It's in the beginning he says something about football saving the world, and it's the Chekhov's gun of the story for some reason. Or not? It's okay. That's it's a bit of an over exaggeration, but it does come back up as a means to help him, and it's that's weird.
They went for it. I'd love to play just a Guilty Gear character who's just robot arm presidential football man who punches dudes.
I mean, he can punch, yeah, but it's more his robot arm is a laser cannon.
Okay, yeah. So it's probably more shoulder tackles.
Yeah, probably.
He just needs to have the Broly armor.
Also, the more I think about Nagaryuki, the more I think that he's kind of lame when you compare him to Slayer. It's oh, Nagaryuki's so strong, he's a vampire or whatever. He uses his blood and it he'll kill himself with it. And it's Slayer doesn't have that. Slayer's just strong.
Yeah, I can see the argument at least.
Slayer doesn't have to kill himself to fight.
I like that Slayer's just so he's dandy to the max, that is his character. But at the same time, Slayer always felt a bit bland to me, honestly.
I just think he's cooler than Nagaryuki because it's not Slayer doesn't have to kill himself to fight.
Yeah, because you look at Naga, it's alright, he's first off, he's effing huge. Second off, he's just straight up a robot Oni. Except not really, but still.
I'm still confused about Nago because he was being held in a big building in a populated area, I guess.
Huh. Yeah, I know.
like a character in the story just like blows up a building and Nagaryuki's just there. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
So anyways, Shaman King.
Yeah, so Shaman King.
Can you tell there's not much to talk about?
Yeah, like it's cool that, like, the guy starts, like, teleporting around and Ryu's just, like, picking out where he's gonna go and, like, punching him.
Yeah, that's cool. Ryu doesn't give a crap. It's like, he cuts his weird, like, V haircut in half.
Yeah.
And then Ryu's like, okay, time to get serious. Like, combs it into a pompadour again.
Yeah, Ryu just, like, loses even more hair, and he combs his almost nothing hairdo back into its original form.
Ryu's hair's magical as far as I'm concerned.
You bet it is.
But yeah, it's just like, like Death said, he's teleporting around, and Ryu's just punching him in the face wherever he appears. It's like, he's freaking out. It's like, how dare you hit me in the face?
Like, I do like that we finally get to see how Ryu fights with Tokagero, because this is, like, his first real battle, and we should really skip over it.
Yeah. Tokagero has snake hair.
Yeah, because, like, effing How's Group just quickly mentions that it's like, oh yeah, like, once his spirit's been dead for 600 years, it can, like, change its shape and become a monster, sort of. That's how they, like, describe it, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like, alright, yeah, makes sense. Like, Amidamaru's got his whole shield thing, and, like, Takagero embraces the whole, like, lizard thing way more, so he's, like, more versatile. He's, like, not as prim and proper. He's, like, got his tricky fighting style and, like, his weird cheap tricks.
Yeah, and it fits Ryu.
Yeah. Because, like, Ryu's the one with the heart and the gusto, and Takagero's the dirty fighter. So yeah, he just turns his hair to snakes, so he can just grab stuff and, like, stop attacks and things like that. It's kind of cool. And, like, they beat, like, Boris's big, like, vampire wings for a bit and prove that they're, like, more of a threat. And, Ryu's just straight up like, yeah, come on, I haven't even used my strongest attack yet. And, like, Boris is just like, alright, that's fine. But, I haven't started fighting either. He just summons a bunch of bats that bite Ryu and stuff. And, like, I think it's around this time where Takagero's just like, oh shit, this guy's actually a vampire. I better get out of here.
Yeah, it's really weird, because it's like, okay. In the back of my head, I'm like, okay, he's plotting something. But I was also like, did he just run away from the fight?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, it didn't make any sense to me, because it's like, Takagero's a ghost. Why would he be afraid of a vampire?
Yeah. Takagero just runs off, and they, like, keep Vampire Guy distracted for a bit. And Takagero just appears behind him, like, tasting his cape, and he's like, yup, this is definitely made of blood, boss. Alright, let's do this.
Yeah, it's like, when that happened, I'm like, how does it help? I'm confused.
Yeah, well, now we know what his power is. We know we can freeze and break it.
Well, it was obvious it was blood. When was that ever in question? These kids are idiots.
Because, like, alright. I feel like it's not immediately obvious, because, like, an Oversoul could be anything, right?
The guy dissolves into a mist of blood to teleport.
He sure does. Oh, man.
It couldn't be more obvious that his powers are blood-based.
Yeah, like, a lot of, like, the sort of, like, directions this fight takes are, like, very odd. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, logical stuff that happens where it's like, alright, this is fine enough, but it's like, oh, that's really a stretch, though. Like, you really didn't, alright.
Yeah, at some point, possessed Lyserg, like, grabs Yo. He's like, oh yeah, it's my Oversoul's possessing the kid, so he's not gonna let go.
Yeah, I do point out I did see in the anime, but I did note that in the manga there's just a brief panel where it's like, first Lyserg goes vampire mode because like he's controlling Lyserg now because he bit him and he's just manipulating his blood. And Lyserg like pins Yo to the ground, and like after a bit, at some point it like pans back to Yo, and he's just got his arms crossed, and he's just smiling like he just doesn't care.
Yeah,
Like
Lyserg's. That sounds like Yo.
Like Lyserg's still like on top of a pig to the ground, and Yo's just chilling. It's kind of great.
Well, not to like. They did mention basically that it's like, oh yeah, we're just here to kill your friends. We don't care. Like Yo's in no danger, pretty much.
Yeah, I had the impression that Yo's just like, oh, I can't like push Lyserg off of me. Oh well, better not worry about it.
Yeah, there's also the fact that Yo's just super chill about everything, and he's like, well, I'll just make the best of the situation.
Yeah. He's like, although yeah, screw it.
That is a smart point that they, whenever Lyserg is possessed and holding Yo in place, he doesn't threaten to kill Yo, which is good because, like I said, they implied that Yo was meant to get past this. And so it's like, I'll have Lyserg stab himself.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, yeah, they're not threatening to kill Yo, which wouldn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah. It's also, like, kind of smart from a writing perspective, because it's like, alright, like, of course Yo's going to, like, make it through this, because he's the main character, he's gotta, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, while I'm not, like, sitting here like, oh my god, Lyserg could die, it's like, it's more plausible that Lyserg would get hurt than Yo would, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's that one layer removed off where it's like, okay, yeah, like, the stakes are, like, a bit more here now.
I am pretty surprised whenever a character takes what seems to be a pretty brutal hit, which the show tends to do more than others, I think.
Yeah.
As far as, like, pretty much kid-friendly shonen series go.
Oh, yeah. Because, like,
it's like... There's the thing earlier where it's not real, but Lily Rara does the illusion thing, and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, this...
And then, like, Lyserg, whenever he gets bitten, it seems really intense and violent.
Yeah, like, this series is, like, it's pretty, like, PG for the most part, but it does get brutal at times. Like, of course, it's like, this is nothing compared to, like, JoJo's or, like, Baki or something. But at the same time, it's like, there's that shot of, like, Lyserg holding the sword, and you see the blood dripping down his fingers from where it's, like, cutting into, like, the undersides of, like, his hand. And it's like, ew, that is uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, mostly, I just mean, it's like, when Lyserg gets hit at the beginning of the fight, I'm just like, did they just introduce Lyserg to kill him?
Yeah.
Like, I thought the guy just straight killed him. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. Like, if your opening move is just to kill a character.
Yeah. Well, threat established, but...
Yeah, oh yeah. Man, I also want to point out that it's like, we do get Boris's backstory where he's like... Alright, so this is like a whole thing where he's like, oh yeah, my, like, great-grandfather was like, Vlad Dracula of, like, the, like, legends and stuff. And he, like, saved our town from the almonds, but, like, to, like, scare off attackers, he basically would, like, impale them on spikes, because, yeah, that's the historical thing. And in the manga, you just straight up see the bodies.
Well, they show it in the anime, too. Yeah, it's just not as pronounced.
Yeah, in the anime, it's like, you see, like, the silhouettes, and it's, like, really stylized. In the manga, you just straight up see the naked corpses.
And
it's like, oh, this was in Jump. This was, like, running alongside One Piece. Dang. Because it's like... I feel like there's been, like, stuff, like, on this level since, because holy shit, Chainsaw Man is nuts. But still, that's, like, pretty far. That'd be like one of the more like, violent pages to be put in Jump to Date.
It's historical.
Yeah. Man. But yeah, and he mentions that it's like, oh yeah, House showed up and like taught us how to use our powers or whatever, and he showed us what it really means to be vampires or something. Because like Boris's family was hunted by like basically clout seekers because of the vampire legend, so they were like, oh yeah, we'll just kill the descendants of the vampire, haha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another thing that's weird. This is the most, like, we've ever seen a group of characters be persecuted against, and they're not even shamans yet, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's kind of nuts, because so much of the series has been like, oh, the shamans are, like, persecuted and stuff, but we never really see it like we do in this. But yeah, so like Hal helps them out, and we see it like Hal is the fire spirit.
Yeah, it's like a baby.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, but I guess it does make sense because like they cut this from the anime, but in the manga afterwards, Rin's like, oh, that's like about 500 years ago. That lines up with the last shaman fight or something. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, this is just straight up confirmed that like Hal went to America and like killed all the warriors and stuff, reincarnated the tribe, like got the fire spirit, and he left for like Transylvania to take part in the shaman fight while the fire spirit was like a baby. So it's like, I guess it had to like grow up after he obtained it, and that's why he didn't win 500 years ago. Because like, it was like still maturing. So, like, he dies and he, like, comes back in, like, the 2000s Sean fight in, like, the Marn time. And it's like, alright, this fire spirit's just born with him, so it, like, grows up as he ages, basically, right?
Yeah.
That seems to be, like, how this works.
Makes about as much sense as anything else.
Yeah. But yeah, so they, like, go through all backstory, and he's like, yeah, so, that's why I, like, have this ghost, because this guy with me is one of the vampire hunters, and our family, like, specifically broke his spirit so that we could force him to be a ghost enslaved to us for, like, 500 years or so. Presumably more.
It's like they break his sense of right and wrong or something.
Yeah,
is what they say.
I'd assume this would have to be exactly, like, 500 years ago. Maybe, like, because, like, that's when House showed up and they learned to be shamans. But, like, there's also a weird line where it's like, oh yeah, spirits only learn to become monsters after 600 years, which seems to refer to, like, Boris. So it's like, I don't know, because the scans said 500 and the anime says 600. So, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about them not being shamans, but still, there's something up with that, basically. It seems, like, implied that, like, this guy's the first one. So, yeah, they, like, find out the truth about that, and they're like, oh, yeah, you've been using your ghost to, like, basically possess Lyserg. Yeah, I want to say Lyserg so bad. These are ghosts to, like, possess Lyserg and, like, control his blood. And they're like, okay, like, how do we deal with this? And, like, that's in the manga where, like, Boris, like, attacks all civilians and, like, drains their blood for the lances, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it says all these spears of blood, and he's like, okay, yeah, like, I'm going to kill all of you. If you make a move, then, like, I'll make my spirit kill Lyserg. And Yo's just like, okay, I see. Yeah, it'll all work out.
And then everybody has a realization.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, alright, yeah, Yo wants us to do something, got it.
And it works.
Yeah, weirdly enough, it actually does. Because, like, he shoots the spears, and, like, Ryu stops most of them, and then, like, effing Horo and, like, Rin stop, like, the rest with their attacks. And he's like, damn it, Bloomro, kill Lyserg, and the ghost is, like, just off in the corner crying, and Yo's like, it won't work, because while you were distracted, Amidamaru talked sense into him, and now he's free from your spell.
Yeah, Amidamaru just talked to him off camera, and he regained his consciousness.
I'm super curious how the crap that worked out.
I have no idea. It doesn't show. Not at all.
Because it's like, what the heck do you say to, like, a ghost you don't know that would, like, instantly restore their sense of self like that, right?
And I know it's not supposed to be an issue with this stuff, but it's something I can't help think about. Amidamaru probably only knows Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Why would this vampire hunter from Transylvania know Japanese?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I know. This is nitpicking. It's just something I can't not think about.
He taught his Transylvanian ghost how to read Japanese, or, like, how to understand Japanese, just for the sole purpose of, like, giving him commands in Japanese.
Yeah. It's unimportant. I'm just nitpicking.
Oh, yeah. The language barrier is, like, the biggest, like, just unexplained thing ever. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah. So, yeah, Amidamaru talks to the ghost off camera, and it doesn't show it, so we don't know what he said or what he did.
I'm just imagining what it'd be like for Amidamaru to be like, okay, yeah, I need to, like, talk sense into this ghost. And he's like, if I say the wrong thing, then this child dies.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, have you heard of justice? Oh, fuck, that's terrible. Oh, no.
I'm gonna assume that he basically appealed to his, like, because he was a vampire hunter who, in their own mind, is probably hunting the evil vampires, and, like, he thought he was the good guy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so he's probably just like, hey, you're a good guy, aren't you? You should be a good guy.
Yeah, because, like, it's the type of thing where it's like, we've seen characters, like, do this before, where they've, like, talked someone out of being evil or controlled or whatever. But it's like, oh, that happened in, like, 10 seconds. What the heck did you even? Yeah.
And it's like, it's usually, if somebody talks down someone from being evil, they have a personal connection to them.
Oh, yeah.
Amidamaru is just some guy to the other guy.
Man, we get this cool moment where, like, Ryu just floats up on, like, Rin's ghost Basan. And he's like,
oh, I feel stupid. I thought Takaguro had turned into something else. I didn't realize he's riding on Basan.
No, it's just straight up, like, Basan.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Rin just gave him a boost so he could attack.
Okay.
And, Ryu's just like, oh, hey, the reason you can't understand it is because, like, you don't know what it's like to have friends or whatever or something. I forget what exactly he says. But yeah, like, Takaguro changes shape and you see his, like, snake hairs, like, turn into, like, dragons, and Ryu's about to do something really cool, and it just stops.
Yep, so we'll see the conclusion of that attack next episode, I guess.
Like, Takaguro just straight up becomes Orochi in, like, episode end.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 8 snakeheads.
Yeah, I'm absolutely convinced that's what the reference is here.
Oh, definitely. Like, looking at the picture, it's like, wait a minute, I counted them. It's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Oh, man. But yeah, there is something I do want to quickly mention, which is that it's like, I like this episode well enough. It is a bit weird to, like, go and read the manga, because it's like, there's something that bugs me about this, where it's like, Ryu's sword just sort of comes out to Kagero's face just sort of wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And in the manga, you can, like, see the area around's, like, sort of melted away, so there's, like, a hole for the sword to poke through, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, if it's not going through the hole, then it's, like, coming out of his mouth or something. But, like, in the anime, it's just phasing through wherever, which is, like, it's fine, but I would have liked to see, like, the little hole the sword's going through. Like, that was a neat touch in the manga.
It's completely unnecessary considering Takaguro's a ghost.
It really is, but it's just a nice little thing to be like, oh yeah, that's how that works. Because even though it's like, like a Miyamaru totally just has the sword come through him in like a direction anyways, like, it feels cool that Takaguro isn't quite the same, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I still think that like them using the swords and then like the ghost head is just on their hand looks really dumb, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's not amazing.
Like it's just kind of a dumb design choice in general, but I'll live.
Yeah. Like, it makes the most sense with, like, a Miyamaru, because he's actively, like, looking around and, like, scouting out and stuff. But it's like, I feel like you could have gone and reused something else and it would have been cooler, right?
I mean, I would just prefer, like Yo gets, instead of, like, a ghost ball on a sword, it's like he gets, like, spectral samurai armor or something.
Yeah. I think I remember at some point, like, because I don't know if this is canon or not, but I do distinctly remember that, like, Yo eventually gets, like, another Oversoul evolution, because of course, like, it is a Shonen series after all. And it's like, I remember him having one that looked like way more, I guess, like what you're expecting, because it's just straight up like a big ghost energy blade. And it's like the samurai armor is like forming around as like the hilt, and it's just on his arm. And it's like, yeah, alright, yeah, that feels about right, really.
It has the same design gripe I have with like Omnimon. It's not quite the same because it's like Omnimon doesn't have hands. Instead, he has like the heads of whatever fused into him, and it's like that seems really impractical and dumb.
Yeah.
But that's not really the case here because it's not like their hand isn't the thing, it's just wrapped around it, but it's like design-wise it looks as dumb as that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I feel like my bigger gripe with Omnimon is that it's like all the colors are just really mismatched. It's like you got like blue on one side, you got like orange on the other, you have like white in the middle. It's like, oh, alright, like I wish these kind of fused together a bit more, but I see what it's doing.
I mean, like white and black go with anything, so the white body doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, I always liked Omnimon's War Bar for that reason, because it's like, just both the arms are black, so they mix together with the body way better.
Yeah.
And you have, like, the yellow as accents, and they look really cool. But yeah, so, like, any final thoughts, I guess?
Nah, not really.
Thoughts on, like, the episode? Like, thumbs up, thumbs down?
It's alright. I didn't have any gripes with it. Except for, like, the very few little ones I had.
Yeah, I feel like this is fine for, like, like a mid-series sort of, like, standard shonen fight, right?
Yeah, I kind of hope we get, like, a little flashback that shows what Amidamaru said to the ghost.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably my biggest complaint here, because it's like, alright, like, everything makes enough sense, it's like, what the crap did he say, though?
Explain just a little bit, please.
Yeah, just literally anything. I need to know. But yeah, like, I guess I'll see you around.
Alright, later.
Later.